This happened quite a few years ago. I had an affinity for a particular white substance in the form of lines back then. One very cold, snowy night around 11 p.m. I went for a walk to meet my dealer. I had never been to his place before, so he gave me the address to his small 2-story apartment building with maybe 6 units in it. Upon arrival, I noticed several strangers inside. After they had hit their pipes, 2 clearly unwashed guys came over to sit at the dining table while I waited for my G. I've never smoked anything besides weed and cigarettes, so I was instantly uncomfortable. They tried making small talk, but I grew increasingly uneasy, giving only short, vague answers. I quickly paid for my stuff, grabbed the baggie, and got up from the table. That's when one of the guys offered to walk me home. My heart started to sink. I politely declined, saying, "Oh, I'm okay, thanks. I don't live far." The other guy stood up and said, "No, really, we can walk you, we don't mind. We have to get going anyway." That's when my instincts finally kicked in. I became very aware and very scared. I immediately thought, I'm fully dressed and ready to go, but they still have to put on their coats and shoes. If I leave now, I'll get a head start and quickly disappear. They said something else as I headed for the door, but I pretended to take a phone call, waved goodbye to my dealer, and closed the door behind me. I jogged down the hallway to the outside door, and once I got outside, I ran for the street. I decided not to take the fast road home because, from the building, they'd be able to see me. I didn't want them knowing even the slightest direction I lived in if they were really following me. The building was at the end of a street, so instead of going straight up the hill, the way I initially came from, I turned right and started jogging. I kept glancing back, and finally I saw them, about a block behind, following me. The street I needed, Stanley Street, was across the intersection on my left, about another block ahead at a 4-way light. As I approached the intersection, I noticed the corner house on my right. There was an older man sitting on his porch, smoking. I recognized him. He was another dealer I had met only once a few weeks before, when my usual guy was dry. I choked up as I got to his porch and asked if he remembered me. He did, and asked what was wrong. I quietly told him I thought 2 guys were following me, and asked if I could go inside for a minute until they passed. He didn't hesitate. We went inside, past his front living room and into the kitchen, where I explained what happened. He told me not to worry, that I was safe there, and I could stay as long as I needed to. Then we heard a knock at the door, and I started to panic. He went to the door, looked through the peephole, and yelled, "Just a minute." He came back quickly and whispered that he knew the guys and was going to invite them in to have a hit. He told me to sneak out through his back door, which was beyond the kitchen, go to the right of the yard and find the gate. This would lead to a side street. He instructed me to creep up along the side of his house, close to the shrubs, and check the porch to make sure they went inside. I followed his plan, and when the coast was clear, I didn't jog. I sprinted up Stanley Street and zigzagged all the way home. When I think back now, I'm in disbelief at my actions and how foolish I was. I thought I was invincible. I was far too trusting. But I truly thank God for the man who helped me that night. I don't know what those 2 guys wanted from me, but I'm forever grateful I never had to find out.